Welcome back. US President Donald Trump is being harshly criticized by some elements of the US media and political establishment for making major concessions to Russia in a joint media conference with President Vladimir Putin in Helsinki in Finland.
While Republican US Senator Bob Corker says he's disappointed at Trump's undermining of US intelligence agencies at the joint media conference with Putin.
While Trump had earlier held a private meeting with Putin, he praised him for what he described as Putin's powerful denial of US accusations that Russia attempted to influence the 2016 US presidential elections.
Corker says Trump's comments made the US look like a pushover. Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan has also come out against Trump's siding with Russia on a number of sensitive issues.
Well, earlier we spoke to our reporter Dan Ashby in Moscow about the meeting between Trump and Putin.
There was all the brinkmanship going into a summit like this, huge cavalcades, and then both presidents trying to make the other one wait a little bit longer before the actual meeting took place. Eventually they did get together in Helsinki, a short and tense handshake and a little wink caught on camera by President Trump to President Putin before they went into that meeting more than 2 hours long and crucially without any aides present. And there was some speculation that President Trump would be worried about having aides because they might try to change his position on certain policies, and he wanted to be forthright with President Putin. But they came out being very positive about these small steps they have taken. President Trump saying that the US-Russia relationship has got to its worst point almost ever, but now that has changed because of this meeting. But there were no real substantive agreements. They've set up a business council where captains of industry can come together and cooperate. They say they will work together on Syria to bring about peace and prosperity, but there was no suggestion that the US would pull out its forces, as had been widely speculated beforehand. They will continue to cooperate on things like tackling Islamic terrorism, but this was really just getting together and trying to improve relations at the most basic level. Perhaps the most interesting part for the international audience was that President Trump did say that he confronted President Putin about alleged interference in the election. President Putin denies that Russia has done any sort of interfering, but President Trump later in a press conference question suggested that he had no reason to distrust President Putin when he answered that. So that might not play well with many of President Trump's critics back at home, but for now he was keen, and certainly so was President Putin, to ensure that this was a show of two countries coming slightly closer together. Now, however much that plays out, or however that plays in the US, and there will be some who are very concerned about that, here in Moscow that will play very well. It will show President Putin as a statesman, as a man who continues to be pivotal in securing world peace and on these key hotspot issues. And I think the Kremlin will be very happy about how today has gone.